Today we're making a very simple vegetarian bean chili, which makes for a perfect weekday meal, and you can use it as a base to build your own chili recipes. We start with the aromatics. Medium heat, olive oil in. We add some finely chopped onion, mostly for sweetness. 1 finely chopped red bell pepper for brightness, color, and a bit more sweetness. And we cook them without color. Through heat, we evaporate their water content to concentrate the flavors we just talked about. And like I said, this is a bare bone recipe that you should use as a guideline. Cook it once, cook it twice, make it your own. Throw some carrots in for a deeper sweetness. Throw some celery in for some herbal notes and more umami. Play with fennel. Use different spices. The steam you see coming out, that's the water content evaporating. And it takes a while. At medium-low heat, 7-8 minutes. Take your time. Don't rush it. Don't burn the sugar content. Otherwise the dish would taste bitter. Once the onions are slightly translucent, we crush some garlic. We're doing it in this order because the garlic has a higher sugar content, and had we added them at the same time, they'll start to burn. And besides the sweetness, this will also bring a bit of subtle umami and a bit more depth to the dish. Now, once there's not much steam coming out, you can hear a gentle sizzle. You can no longer smell the harshness of the onion, and you can taste the sweetness. We start to introduce our spices. We've covered quite extensively last Saturday how to get the most out of your dry ancho chilies. So today we keep it simple. Just some store-bought chili powder of your choosing. And we're being quite generous with the chili powder because it's in the name of the dish. And now, through heat, we activate their essential oils to really bring out the best of the chili powder, and for their flavors to mix with the olive oil we added earlier. And of course, they'll bring the heat, they'll bring the color, and they'll bring the spiciness. To that, we add some cumin for some earthiness and some warm nutty notes. And to really mimic the wonderful smokiness of the dry ancho chilies, some smoked paprika. And I like to be very generous with the paprika. And again, we're doing it in this order to avoid burning, to avoid bitterness. I mean, a tiny hint of bitterness is almost desirable if you want to mimic the dry ancho chilies. But that comes from the paprika themselves, not from burning. Now, having played with bay leaves extensively a couple of weeks ago, we know better to add the bay leaves now to activate their oil-soluble compounds and for the oil to really take on the wonderful flavors, especially in a dish with a relatively short cooking time. Just a minute for the bay leaves. We add our umami bomb, tomato puree. Even though we're using tinned tomato, this would give a more concentrated flavor, a deeper sweetness, and the opportunity to really cook them down to further concentrate their flavors. Now, just like last week, before the tinned tomatoes, a tiny splash of water, just so that while we can see better, we make sure we mop up all the beautiful flavors, all the burn bits, all the fond that we have created with our aromatic base. And immediately we can smell the water-soluble eucalyptus smell from the bay leaves. But again, use it as a guideline. Add whatever herb you fancy. Skip the herb if you need to, it's a flavorsome enough dish. Now, one clean bottom, we add our tinned tomato. If you're cooking this in season, you can use fresh, of course. More umami, more richness, more sweetness, a bit of body, and a bit of acidity. Once again, cook this down slightly. Concentrate the flavors. Once again, not much steam, we add the beans. We've covered on Monday how to soak, prepare your beans. So today, just tinned kidney beans. They will bring the signature creaminess and color. And as usual, always ingredient first, cooking liquid last, no unnecessary dilution. By the way, you don't have to use a tiny casserole dish. I just somehow stupidly thought the colors would go well together. Now I'm paying for it. Talk about concentration of flavors. Now we add just enough cooking liquid to cover everything. In this case, just a dash. You can use any stock you like. You can use the cooking liquid of your dried beans. We taste and adjust the seasoning. Should have seasoned from the get-go, but weekday meal. Now the crazy thing is, everything here is cooked, so all you're solving for is the desirable texture and for the flavors to mix. So at a bare minimum, I would recommend lid on, simmer, half an hour. Then you can taste and decide how much further you want to take it. If you want to go the extra mile, like last week, 150 oven, uncovered, 90 minutes, moving them every half an hour and adding liquid when necessary. And this is bean chili.